Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
Once again, we are on. I am the Mojo King. He is the great Mike Steph, and we are Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the mighty 19 Media Group. How are you today, Mike Steph?
I've been in better spirits. I'm not gonna lie. That's why my little subtitle down here is Melancholy Mike. But I will say this, being the fact that I see that this has finally been adjusted to at Mike Steph is double underscore, kind of lifted my spirits. But as you can tell, being the fact that I have my green on, I'm not feeling the greatest, but I'm gonna persevere.
Yeah, well, I can completely understand that. We'll get into why, even though I think most people would know in a bit. A special shout out to Brad Winchester for hooking that up for you.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Appreciate you. Check in the mail.
All right, folks. In case you are new to the show, this program will be broken down into 3 sections. In section 2, we will talk about the Thursday night game. This week, it will be the Minnesota Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We will talk about keys to the game, a little bit injuries, and just give our opinion on what we think will happen there. Make a prediction or two. After that, we'll move on to section 3, which is all about Survivor. We'll talk about the Sunday games and which teams we are sure are guaranteed, without a doubt, no questions asked, will win with no chance of losing. Because that's how sports works. Got guarantees. You know what, Mike Steph? I gotta say, I think we might have guarantees though. Because did you see what we did last week?
Refresh my memory.
Okay, so Kansas City, right? You said the game would be close. I said, and so you got the spread right. I said that it was going to go down to the last drive. If Kadarius Toney knew how to catch the ball, I would actually predict exactly what happened. That's a side point. Then we had the Baltimore game. I said, wait to the second half, bet the over, and that's exactly what happened. Baltimore won by the spread, and they went over in the second half. That was actually, I actually bet it myself and made a little bit of money. We're geniuses. We are psychics. We know the future. I am Mochadamus. You are the equivalent of whatever Nostradamus would be with Mike Steph. Stephadamus. That makes you sound Greek. All right. Before we get to section 2 and 3, of course, we have to get section 1. And that is the one big thing from your man over there, the Jet fan extraordinaire, Mike Steph. What is your one big thing this week?
Before I get into that one big thing, let me find out Mo is on his Barry Horowitz. I swear, you which go
Rob Van
the
Dam.
rabbit out the hat.
Rob
exactly.
Van Dam.
This week my one big thing, like I ain't gonna lie, I had a whole bunch of notes that I was gonna have for my one big thing. I had this nice complex essay, if you will. And then Monday night happened. If you have been a viewer and took in our preview of the NFL regular season, and especially about the fact that I have nothing but Jet paraphernalia on, you know I am a big Jets fan. I'm not ashamed to let everybody know. And throughout the preview, I had 6 degrees of Jet all over the place. And then my and Jet Nation's worst nightmares came true this past Monday. Monday night, September 11th, first Monday night football game of the season. Jets at home against the Buffalo Bills. The regular season debut of one Aaron Rodgers, the savior, so to speak. Do you know Aaron Rodgers only lasted 4 offensive snaps before, pardon the pun, his Achilles tendon snapped. The depression in the air was palpable. I'm sitting on the bed watching the game, and I'm not going to be ashamed the fact that I had tears in my eyes. I was literally dumbstruck. I was frozen. Um, I'm going to give a shout out to my cousin Oo, my brother-in-law, Low Fat Beats from Atlanta, um, Tyler McDowell of Gimmick Infringement. Multiple people reached out to me to pretty much check on my emotional and my mental well-being because I was just out of it. When he got sacked, we had no idea that. Well, a lot of people did have an idea that it was his Achilles, even though they initially said it was his ankle. I was crossing my fingers it was his ankle. So was MetLife Stadium. When he went into the blue tent, that was alarming in itself. And then when they showed him coming out the back of the blue tent onto a cart to be carted off the field into the locker room, the alarm bells were ringing. And then when they showed him with the boot on, I'm like, this is unbelievable. So 4 offensive snaps, we were right back to where we started with Zach Wilson as quarterback. I'm not going to get into the minutia because the Jets are actually on our slate of games that we're going to preview. But when I say it's been a constant struggle for me not to wallow in my 41 years of Jet misery and to try to look on the positive take a positive outlook, look at the bright side if there is a bright side, which right now at this point it isn't. Matter of fact, this is one last point. Do you know that September 12th, the day after the tragedy at MetLife Stadium, was 24 years to the day in which Vinny Testaverde snapped his Achilles tendon at the beginning of the year, the first game of the year against the New England Patriots. Also, a year that most pundits had the Jets as Super Bowl contenders, the same as this year. It's just ironic that do you know who was an honorary captain for this past Monday night's game? Yes, that same Vinny Testaverde. When people say that there's a black cat, a black cloud over the Jets franchise, that maybe Joe Namath did in fact sell his soul for Super Bowl III. It was a very frustrating time to be a Jet fan. Yes, we did win, but like I said, we'll get into that later. But yeah, that had to be my one big thing because I'm the type of person that if I'm going to dish it out, I'm going to be able to take it. I do not duck any type of smoke, and I will be a Jet fan probably until my last days on this earth. So if I'm going to toot my horn and walk around with my chest out all off season talking about, yeah, we're that team, then when something like this happens, I can't run from it. I have to walk toward it. And that has been Mike Steph's one big thing. Yeah.
I don't have much to follow up on that. I mean, it shocked me, and obviously I'm not a Jets fan. I was hurt, so I can just imagine Jets Nation. We're going to just move into the Thursday night game. We're going to have the Minnesota Vikings going to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. The total is projected to be 48.5 points, and the Eagles are 7-point favorites. That means that Vegas will have it at the Vikings scoring 20 3/4, while the Philadelphia Eagles score 27 3/4. As far as injuries, Minnesota's having some offensive line issues. Their left tackle and center are both questionable for the game. On Philadelphia's side, they're having a couple of issues on defense. They have injuries to their cornerback and their safety. Both of them are questionable as well. But they also have more issues, much bigger issues, as in defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. He is also questionable. And then on the offensive side, Kenneth Gainwell, who was amazingly the lead running back last week, he has a rib injury and he is questionable as well. And my last report that I saw on him said he's leaning towards not playing. Maybe Swift will get some action finally. All right, Minnesota is 0-1. They lost to Tampa at home 20-17, despite Cousins having a pretty good offensive game, not including his fumble and his interception. Meanwhile, Philadelphia beat New England 25-20 in New England. They jumped out to a quick 16-0 lead and then basically held on for the rest of the game. One thing before I kick it to you, just in general, as far as week one, The under went 13-3 last week. I have a theory on why that happened, but what do you think about this game, Minnesota at Philadelphia?
I have a couple thoughts. One, like you said, Cousins did have a good statistical game, but as what happens with Cousins is those stats end up being empty because he always ends up shooting himself in the foot. He threw for 344 yards passing on 75% completion rate, right? But they only scored 17 points. That doesn't equate, right? But not only that, their running game, and this was something I think we might have touched on in the preview, by them allowing Dalvin Cook to walk out the door. Did they have an adequate replacement? Is that really putting too much pressure on Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson to really carry the team? I think so. You know, you still have, all right, you have potential on the outside, but do you have really proven players besides Justin Jefferson? Don't know. Now, as for the Eagles, and you know they're not my favorite franchise whatsoever. Tell you the truth, the only reason I'm not going to give them a slander this week is because they have actually helped my Jets by beating the New England Patriots at home. But that game was sloppy. 16-0, and then like you said, they held on. And if it wasn't for the fact that New England receiver, and his name escapes me right now, wasn't able to drag his second foot, they probably would have lost that game because they were on the ropes. You had Mac Jones carve you up, and just the crossing patterns. And one of the weaknesses of the Eagles defense is in the middle, and that's what Belichick and Bill O'Brien attacked over and over and over again. Those crossing patterns in which got the seams. If they're not able to garner a pass rush like they've done last year and the year before, then you're leaving that secondary very vulnerable, and that's what ended up happening. So I say all that to say, money line, I'll go Eagles. As in them covering, I really feel that the Vikings, i.e. Kirk Cousins, has enough to once again exploit that secondary. So I think they're going to keep it close, but I just don't trust Kirk Cousins to pull out anything in the end. So I will go Vikings to cover and Eagles money line. And as for the over-under, I'm going to go under. Yeah, I once again, I feel like the stats aren't going to equate to points when it comes to the Vikings. That's why I'm not picking the Vikings to win.
I agree with you. One of the things overall, the reason I think there were so many unders was because there was a lot of sloppy football being played. And the Eagles played a sloppy game. The Vikings played a sloppy game. Tampa Bay shouldn't have been in that game. And Philadelphia almost blew that game. I think I'm with you wholeheartedly on the Eagles seem like a solid survivor play, but I would not pick them to cover the 7. I would definitely think I would lean towards the Vikings, and I would lean towards the under as well. So there's quite a few survivor selections this week anyway. So I don't know if I'm even going to pick the Eagles. I might save the Eagles for when I think they're actually playing well. You are smiling, sir. What are you smiling about?
You know what I just realized? I don't know. It's almost like this light bulb just got over my head. This is a Thursday night game, right? Everybody does know that Kirk Cousins has not ever won a primetime night game, right? So even for that, you would think the lower averages, you're like, you know what? Maybe I should. But the lower averages does not come into play when it comes to Kirk Cousins. Like I said, as soon as the light goes down, so does his chances of winning. Yeah, Eagles definitely. Like I think that. No, I'm not gonna say that's the lock of the week, but yeah, that just enhanced my belief that the Eagles are gonna win.
Are you ready to step up your style without compromising the planet? Introducing the exciting partnership between BLUEVIEW Footwear and the 19 Media Group Network. Just visit bit.ly/BLUEVIEW19 to start your sustainable style journey. Our friends over at BLUEVIEW Footwear are renowned for introducing the world's first fully biodegradable sneaker. By using plant-based plastics, they are leading a revolution in cleaner materials and manufacturing. They have sleek and contemporary styles that cater to a wide range of tastes. BLUEVIEW Footwear believes that fashion and sustainability can coexist harmoniously. Explore their incredible collection of eco-friendly footwear by visiting bit.ly/BLUEVIEW19. If you let us know you made a purchase, we'll shout you out on our next show. Again, just visit bit.ly/BLUEVIEW19 today, and you'll see the ultimate collaboration of fashion, sustainability, and media excellence.
All right, we're going to move over to the Sunday games and talk some survivor picks. First game up is the Las Vegas Raiders. They're heading to Buffalo to face the Bills. The total here is projected to be 46.5 points, and the Bills are 9-point favorites. That means Vegas projects it out to the Raiders having 18.75 points, while Buffalo has 27.75 at the end. As far as injuries, Buffalo is healthy. They came through pretty intact after last week. Meanwhile, the Raiders were relatively healthy, but they had one major injury. Jacoby Myers is in concussion protocol. The reason that is significant for the Raiders is because he led the team in receiving last week. He had 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Vegas defeated Denver 17-16 in Denver. Meanwhile, Buffalo lost to the New York Jets 22-16 in overtime. Basically due to Josh Allen being absolute trash. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game with Buffalo 9-point favorites?
I can't fathom why in the hell Buffalo is a 9-point favorite, especially coming off that performance this past Monday night. Are they giving the Jets a lot of credit, the Jets defense a lot of credit for making Josh Allen look the way that he did? He had four turnovers, 3 interceptions, 1 lost fumble, and he actually fumbled the ball twice. And they're because they are home favorite? I don't get it. Josh Allen was 29-41. If you just look at the stats, 29-41 for 236 yards, 1 touchdown. You're like, all right, great. But then there's a glaring 3 in glowing in red, 3 interceptions, right? The O-line gave up 5 sacks, and it looked out of sorts the whole game. The defense was good until it counted, and that's like a common recurrence when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. You know, they're classic front runners, but they can never get really a stop when they absolutely need it. And this goes back years when they were up with 13 seconds left in the divisional playoff game against Patrick Mahomes, and they ended up losing that game. The special teams didn't even help. The special teams gave up the winning touchdown in overtime. There's nothing about what I saw this past Monday night that would give me any type of confidence in the Bills covering, even in the Bills winning. But we'll get to that. Now, as you said, the only thing on the other side that gives me pause in picking the Raiders is Jacoby Myers being in concussion protocol, and seemed like he was the go-to player, you know, which is shocking to say when you have Devontae Adams on your roster fully healthy. Josh Jacobs, you know, he was easing his way into it. But here's a stat. Here's a stat for you on the Las Vegas side. Jimmy G threw for 200 yards, 20-26 passing, right? You know, you can say that's pedestrian. But that's not the stat that you look for when you look at Jimmy G. Do you know going into that game, he was 41-17 as a starter. That means porn star Jimmy does nothing but win. And the combination of him and dare I say Josh McDaniels having somebody that he really, really entrusts with his offense, and the fact that to me the Bills continue to be overrated and this line is just like horrendous, I will go with the Raiders covering, and dare I say the Raiders for the win. Now, as for the over-under, 46.5, I will go under, because I still feel that the Bills on their side are not going to be able to put up the requisite points to cover the over. So I said what I said.
All right. I have a couple issues with this game, and I think I'm going to just leave this game alone. I might pick the Bills for Survivor. I have multiple Survivor teams, so I might pick the Bills. But this is my problem. On the Vegas side, they beat Denver 17-16. And I don't know what Denver is yet. Because are they the trash that they were last year? Or is Mr. Payton going to make them respectable, in which case that was a quality win by the Raiders? I don't know. On the flip side, Buffalo and Josh Allen in particular looked like trash. And interestingly enough, the last time we saw them play in the playoffs, Josh Allen still didn't look that good then either. Is he just stuck? Is it now mental that he's just having a Mackie Sasser moment as far as being a quarterback? I don't know. But I will say this. The one thing that got me thinking the opposite way is that, as we talked about in the previews, Josh Allen does things like this from time to time. Unfortunately for the Buffalo, it's been in the playoffs a couple of times, but he has these games. Typically, right after these games, he shows you how special he is by doing the right things. I think that's the reason the spread is like it is, and that's the reason the total is what it is, because Vegas is expecting him to bounce back and be the MVP type candidate that he usually is. And I can't exactly say Vegas is wrong, but I don't trust it at all. So I think I would not bet this game at all. Like I said, I might put on Buffalo, but there's a few games that I kind of find interesting here as far as Survivor. So maybe I won't touch Buffalo at all.
The track record is starting to add up that we know, or we're starting to know what Buffalo is on offense. And that's erratic, and it goes based on the erratic play of their quarterback. And, you know, to which part, the bottom line is he hasn't been the same since Brian Daboll left.
All right. I'm not going to argue with you. But I would not be surprised if Josh Allen throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns this next game either. Or stinks it up again. Who knows? All right, let's move over to the West Side. San Francisco 49ers are going to LA to face the Rams. The total here is 44.5 points, and the 49ers are 8-point favorites on the road. As far as injury news, San Francisco came through game 1 healthy. LA, the Rams came through pretty healthy as well. Of course, Cooper Kupp is on the IR, so healthy compared to last week, but they were not healthy last week. San Francisco crushed the Steelers, the vaulted Steelers that everybody was so hyped about out of preseason. They defeated them 30-7 in Pittsburgh. Purdy looked really good, 19 for 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ayuk went off, McCaffrey went off. The Rams also had a big victory. They crushed the Seahawks in Seattle 30-13. But I must note that at halftime, they were down 7-13. And then in the third quarter, the Seahawks lost both of their offensive tackles, at which point Geno and the Seahawks offense was no more. A big game by Stafford coming back. He threw for 334 yards. And say his name, the wide receiver.
Puka Nacua.
That guy, 10 catches, 119 yards. So do you think they can do it again and upset the 49ers? The 49ers are 8-point favorites. What you say, Mike Steph?
No. That 8 is looking real tempting. Do we really know what the Rams defense is? Like, if you think about it, like you said, they were down 13-7.5, and only because Seattle lost both their tackles were they able to pretty much stomp them into the ground in the second half. You always have to worry about Aaron Donald, but I'm not really familiar with anybody else on that defense that strikes fear. And Kyle Shanahan, he's going to keep the pedal to the metal. I mean, because like you said, they throttled Pittsburgh. And that was one of the games, I believe, last week that I was like, you know what? I think Pittsburgh might have a chance to win. And they're darn sure going to cover. I know I had them on 2 parlays, and they screwed me royally. 30-7. And Nick Bosa coming off his record-breaking contract. You don't think he's trying to really put some stats in the air? He's trying to put that jersey in the rafters against intra-division rival, and it's in LA. I can't really go again. That, like I said, that 8 looks tempting, but at the same time, I think the 49ers are on a mission this year, and I think they're not going to just stop at just winning. They're really trying to prove a point. So I would take the 49ers to cover, the 49ers, of course, to win, and that over-under, something's telling me to go over because I really think the 49ers are going to really, really, really try to put it on the Rams.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. My one small caveat is that Purdy was on fire at the beginning of the game and looked like the next Montana Young Purdy down the line for the 49ers. After that, he looked pedestrian. He looked a little bit normal. So I'm still not 100% sold on Purdy being the superstar quarterback. But of course, the 49ers don't need him to be a superstar because they have the other talent and they have the coaching. So I'm 100% with you. I'm actually thinking that almost the same thing along the lines of what you said. I think San Francisco is going to jump out to an early lead. And unlike Pittsburgh, though, I think the Rams will come back and score a couple of touchdowns, and that's how the game will get over. I'm a little bit worried about that 8 points because I feel like there might be a garbage time touchdown that gets them within the 8. You know, they lose by 4, but it really wasn't that close. So the 49ers definitely on my radar as far as survivor. I probably wouldn't bet the 8, but I think I'm taking over.
Yeah, that 8 has me bothered. I might just, I'll probably just gamble and just say F it. But that 8, that 8's really dependent. To me, it all depends on the odds. Mm-hmm. If I get better odds, doing the 8, fine. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't completely trust it, but gotta trust the 49ers at this point. All right, and our last game, as far as survivor to focus on this week, is the New York Jets heading to Dallas to face the Cowboys. The total here is 39.5 points, and the Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites. That means Vegas is projecting out the Jets to score 15 points, while Dallas scores 29.5. As far as injuries, it's well known the Jets lost Aaron Rodgers. He's out for the season with the torn Achilles. The Dallas Cowboys left guard Tyler Smith is questionable with the hamstring injury. We'll see later on if he's coming in or not. The Jets, despite losing Rodgers, defeated the error-prone Bills 22-16. We've talked about that game a little bit. Bryce Hall looked extraordinary. And on the Cowboys side, they obliterated the Giants 40-0 on prime time. It was crazy. They forced Daniel Jones into 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles and only 104 yards passing. Dak Prescott looked pedestrian, but he didn't need to do anything. He was 13 for 24, 143 yards. And Tony Pollard had a very good game as the lead back with Zeke gone. 14 carries, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game coming up?
I look at that line, and when I first saw the line, I got disrespected. Like, whoa. Like, look, I understand that our starting quarterback just went down with a season in the injury, right? I understand that not a lot of people outside of the state of the city of New York have a lot of confidence. Matter of fact, outside of the Jets locker room, have a lot of confidence in the abilities of Zach Wilson going forward. I understand that. I get it. But 9.5? Like, did you not just see our defense on display? The only reason why we were able to win that game this past Monday night was because of our defense. Jordan Whitehead had 3 interceptions by himself. Our defensive line was dominant. We got to Josh Allen 5 times. And on numerous times, we forced him into those interceptions based on the pressure that we got with our front 4. The only time that our defense really got itself in trouble is when we actually blitzed, when we actually sent more than 4. Plus, we're going against Dak Prescott. You mean to tell me you think Dak Prescott is going to do a better job than Josh Allen? No. I'm not saying that if we're going to win this game, we're going to have an offensive barrage, but we have a 2-headed running back committee. We're going to go back to the ground and pound philosophy because in reality, that's the only way we can have a chance this season, at least until Zach Wilson gets his feet underneath himself. And if Nathaniel Hackett is as intelligent as I believe he is, everybody knows one of the Achilles heels, pardon the pun, of the Cowboys is the running game. And especially the Achilles heel of Mr. Micah Parsons. You run toward the pressure. You run toward the pressure to calm that pressure down. And I really believe that's going to be the game plan. So, with all that being said, I'm going Jets to cover the spread. Yes, Cowboys are not winning by 9.5 points. So, I'm going with the Jets to cover the spread. And because I'm the deranged lunatic that I am, I'm going for the Jets for my pick of the week. Yeah, that's right. I said it. We're going to go into Dallas with the emotion of Monday night, with the emotion of the fact that we're doing it for the Gipper, a.k.a. we're doing it for Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to go to Big D and give them the Big D as a defeat. Yeah, keep your minds out the gutter. Jets, Jets. Let's go. Oh, as for the over-under, I'll go under.
All right. I got to say, I think you're insane for saying that they're going to win. But you do bring up a good point as far as the ground and pound. That is the way to go, which may be able to keep this game close enough that the 9.5 is too much. I don't think so, though, because watching Zach Wilson on September 11th, he looked like Zach Wilson. I think we talked about in a preview. I actually really like the Cowboys this season. I think if I had to bet it, and I might add it to like a giant parlay because I try to get rich off of betting like 10 teams at once, which is insane to do. Do not do that. I do not advise that. But if I was going to bet this game, I'm going to bet the Cowboys to win by more than the 9.5 because I like the 10. So I could easily see 24-14. Can I see the Jets scoring 2 touchdowns? I don't know. So the over-under, I don't think I would touch because I do lean under, but it's just something about it bothering me. That should definitely be an under, though. I just don't think I'll bet it. Since you did say that that was your one selection, I do want to point out that there is one other game that we haven't mentioned that's a smaller spread that I think is a clear possible survivor pick, and that is the Giants heading to Arizona to face the Cardinals. The Giants are 5.5-point favorites. They, as I just mentioned, lost by 40 points last week. But I think that the floodgates opened early, and that team is not built to come back ever. And I excuse them for that game. Meanwhile, Arizona, even though they kept the game close with Washington, I think that was more of a thing about Washington than it was really about Arizona. Joshua Dobbs looked like he should be a third string or back end backup quarterback. He's still starting again. I think the Giants will come back and avenge their loss. Maybe ugly, but I think their easy win. They're going to be somebody I definitely pick on Survivor. And I guess that's it for me. You have anything else that you want to add as far as games?
No. I'm like I said, I'm going to stay steadfast. Yeah, you can call me Homer Jones all y'all want. My pick of the week is the Jets. Look, we will be surprising a lot of teams this year. Tell them, take it to the bank. I swear, I can't wait until next Wednesday because I will be in all my glory when I'm proven correct. So yeah, I'm gonna rest my case.
All right, the Jets 2-0. You should be running running celebration laps. All right, that is it for us. Mike Steph, take us out.
Yeah, this has been such a roller coaster ride of emotions on this episode of Hidden Gems Football. With all that being said, Hidden Gems Football has been a part of the 19 Media Group. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Wifey's over there. She's not talking.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
Okay. Maybe I should not point at you before I say that. All right. All right, you ready?
Ready as I'm going to be.
All right.
It just came to my mind. I'm looking at it. I'm like, TNF. Oh, shoot, Thursday night. Oh, hell no. The Vikings ain't going to win.
There we go. What the? How dare you?
Ah.
I'm not there, right?
You're not there, no.
So I don't want to be in your podcast.
You want to be in it. You want to be in it.
I don't think that you can handle this.